I have been talking quite a bit about Hedera, aka HBAR, on the channel recently. One of the biggest things that I did mention is how consistent they are with the updates. What updates am I talking about? Well, I'm talking about recent partnerships, integrations, things like that. But what about XDC? Because again, XDC is also in a very similar position where, when we think about how big XDC is compared to HBAR, XDC is living in the shadows of some of these other projects, including even Hedera, but they are also on the same exact level where we are seeing so many big updates. We're seeing XDC working with the same similar names. And we also know that XDC has worked on major initiatives in the space with even Hedera, even with XRP and Ripple, as well as other names as well. So XDC could definitely be mentioned, right next to some of these other big names. And comparing the market cap, like when we look at the fully diluted value here, 3.55 billion, look at the market cap of some of these other projects. Like HBAR has $11.2 billion, even if we're not even going off of fully diluted value. But if we're looking at the fully diluted value, 13.22 billion compared to 3.55 billion, guess what? That's telling me that XDC is overlooked. It's still undervalued because I do think that XDC will have very similar market caps to some of these other large projects. Even, XLM. XLM has $14.4 billion fully diluted value, $23 billion. That is insane. You're talking about a $20 billion difference here from just the fully diluted value, not even talking about the market cap itself. So this is why I keep saying that XDC could easily be a $1 plus coin at some point in time, and it could happen this cycle. All it really takes is a lot of people to pay attention to what XDC is doing and what the network is also becoming. We know that it's been getting listed on some major exchanges recently. Binance US is one of the most recent ones. I'm waiting for Binance and Coinbase as well as some other ones to follow through. I do think that the Binance listing is inevitable, especially considering the fact that we already got Binance US. The main reason why we focus on Binance so much is because it is the #1 exchange with over $24+ billion tied to it, with over 11.3 million. I mean, guys, 11.3 million weekly visits, which is just crazy to think about. It is one of the largest exchanges that this space has actually had for years now. I think Binance has ranked #1 since going back to even, I want to say 2018, maybe even a little bit older than that, because I remember I was using Binance back in 2017 as well. And it's one of the, longest running big name exchanges in the space that has the type of consistency that Binance definitely does have. So this is definitely one listing that we have been waiting for quite some time, and it is because of the Binance effect. It will significantly move the value of XDC once we do get that listing. But like I said, we're already listed on Binance US. I think that the Binance listing itself is inevitable. But outside of that, it's not just the listings, it's not just a market opportunity for XDC, it's also what the team behind XDC has been doing and how big the network is becoming. I've been talking about it for years now. Trade finance, tokenization, and digitalization is a big thing to focus on around blockchain tech because it's an industry that's ripe for disruption for this technology. It's one that's still running on paper-based processes, and XDC is actually solving that. But outside of that, just taking a quick look at a few things. #1, the chart for XDC. Guys, we continue to squeeze here, and we're in a bull flag formation. These typically break to the upside, and I'm just waiting patiently for this thing to really squeeze and break out. We've been consolidating since the run back in the middle of July, and I'm just waiting for us to clear this 10-cent zone. The second that we get a 3-day candle close over that 10-cent target, it's going to be very exciting to watch XDC target the previous highs back in January, which is around 15.5 cents. And the all-time high from 2021 is not that far off at all. So XDC can really make a lot of noise here soon once we start to see the market really waking up. And the biggest thing to focus on right now is that we are in phase 2 of the cycle. Alt season is coming up, and these projects are going to expand to the upside. A 10x is not unheard of, and I do think that XDC could easily hit $1 this cycle. Now, outside of that, we've been seeing more and more news around markets, right? We've talked about the listings, but what about also wallets? So we also keep seeing big updates, like for an example, Garda Wallets supporting XDC. We have here enterprise blockchain meets enterprise grade security. Garda Wallet fully supports XDC network, offering institutions and individual users alike a secure non-custodial solution for managing XDC network assets. Obviously, Garda Wallet's a pretty big wallet, but I'm not. It's not like this is going to be a huge announcement that everyone's going to look at and say, "Wow, this is extremely bullish." It's just something that actually helps the ecosystem. It helps give individuals and even institutional players an opportunity to tap into a wallet that is secure, and this is basically just another name added to the list of other wallets that do support XDC, which, by the way, if anyone was wondering, you can actually see them under wallets here. These are usually hot wallets. I think that this is more of a cold wallet solution. I might be wrong on that. I've never utilized Garda Wallet, but this is still some pretty good news for XDC. Outside of that, more and more integrations are happening. For an example, here we have from EO. EO is now live on XDC network, powering the RWA chain built for tokenization and TradFi, with EO feeds already live on the network's top protocols. Composability, utility, and yield for on-chain RWAs just got an upgrade. By the way, this is actually pretty big considering the fact that EO has over 122,000 plus followers. So we love to see this. And we have here that EO was chosen by XDC to deliver secure, risk-aware price feeds for its RWA-Fi ecosystem. Why? Because RWA-backed protocols and tokenization platforms need Oracle infrastructure that's battle-tested and fit for the highest level of institutional demand. And here we have the live EO feeds on XDC. They're enabling a new class of DeFi for real-world finance, trust minimized, composable, and ready to scale. Integrate EO feeds on XDC right now, permissionless and production ready. So very exciting stuff. Again, this is a key piece for the infrastructure for XDC. So I'm very happy about this. I think that this is great, and it's supporting the big push on RWAs for XDC. And currently speaking, about $24 million is tied back to XDC. This is also going to expand rapidly over the coming weeks and months as well, which I'm very, very excited about seeing. We already know this because of some of the recent announcements this year. One of the biggest ones was the one with Vert, right? Vert Capital plans to tokenize $1 billion in debt and receivables on the XDC network. We recently talked about this. This is definitely a big one. But what about this one? So this is the newest update for XDC, and this is a significant milestone in RWA. XDC Network serves as the blockchain layer for the commercial real estate finance transaction led by Archax Exchange, VerseProp, and XDC Network, as well as Spitfire Group and DCENT. So this deal reinforces the maturity of regulated digital asset infrastructure and the role of purpose-built blockchains like XDC Network in enabling scalable real-world adoption. And here we have real estate finance is no longer tied to legacy systems. Tokenization has arrived, and it works. Archax, VerseProp, XDC Network, Spitfire Group, and DCENT have completed a landmark tokenized commercial real estate finance deal, proving how blockchain can unlock new efficiencies and liquidity pathways. And here we actually have from Archax themselves, this is the announcement where we do get some details. So they just kind of give us a breakdown of each group here. For an example, VerseProp. We already know about Archax, right? Archax we've been talking about for quite some time now with Hedera. VerseProp, they are a prop tech innovator transforming real estate finance and investment through tokenization, bridges traditional real estate finance markets with next generation digital ownership models. Spitfire Group has been active in the collateralized lending space for many years, delivering strong risk-adjusted returns across a range of secured finance strategies. With a focus on institutional standards and robust underwriting, Spitfire is proud to participate in this pioneering initiative, helping to bring the benefits of real estate-backed lending to a broader audience through the power of tokenization. And then DCENT Investments is a principal lender, based in London and the South Coast, specializing in bridging and development finance for the UK property sector. They offer fast, flexible funding solutions for property investments and also developers, as well as asset managers and SMEs. So, yeah, this is very exciting stuff. I do think that this is going to wake up the real estate market for XDC. So I'm actually very excited about this. There's not a value tied to this. It's mainly just the market opportunity here. And this is definitely a huge one. We've been talking about real estate for quite some time. Even right now, when we think about some of the categories here, I think XRP actually has some. So if we actually go back to the networks, just to kind of give you guys a quick glimpse at how much money is actually tied to real estate currently on chain, it's not much. It's about 153 million, but it seems as though this is starting to move on chain. And this is definitely exciting because now XDC has just another category tied to it for tokenization. And if you guys were unaware, when it comes to XDC, just looking at some of the asset classes here, already commodities, US treasuries, stablecoins, private credit. Now we could add real estate to the list as well. But yeah, I mean, XDC is making a ton of moves. We've talked about Leaky with 500 million, Vert with 1 billion. Now this recent move with Archax, which, you know, Archax has been absolutely killing the game. It seems as though XDC is becoming a very, very big deal in the tokenization space. It's also at a time where tokenization itself, I mean, listen, this is a market that's going to continue to grow right now. It's still sitting around like $13.3 billion, nothing crazy. We're still down about 1.19% in the last 30 days. So not much has changed in the tokenization space, but I would assume that by the end of this year, this is going to be, you know, a lot more in terms of value, and also the value on some of these networks like XDC is also going to grow. We've been waiting patiently for the leaky $500 million to be added to XDC. They did say sometime around like 90 days. That was back in April, so July was our time frame. We have yet to actually see that hit the network, but if we're combining the 500 million with the 1 billion and then possibly, you know, whatever value is tied back to this announcement with Archax, you know, XDC could easily move up the list here. And I know that I've been saying that. I know that I keep saying it, but, you know, with everything happening around XDC, with all of these big updates happening as well, I really do think that people should be looking into XDC a bit more, especially considering the fact that XDC only has $1.51 billion in market cap tied to it. Fully diluted value, $3.55 billion. I know that these values seem significant for crypto because we go back to like 2020 or 2019 and we were buying old coins that had like market caps between like $1 to $10 million or maybe even $15 million. Now we're talking about billions of dollars, but it also shows you how the space is maturing. These values can easily still 10x. I mean, a 10x from here to 94 cents to have a fully diluted value of like $35.5 billion. That's not that crazy or unheard of, especially at a time where Dogecoin still has $34 billion tied to it. We also have Tron with 32 billion. ADA with almost 30 billion. Like, these values are extremely crazy at a time where altcoins have barely moved. We're still in phase 2 of the market, and XDC, you know, could still see that major 10x opportunity. And we're just going off of fully diluted value. A 10x from here in terms of market cap is about 15.1 billion. So even then, you know, $15.1 billion would have it sitting at about number 11 here. Just because, you know, XLM has about 14.3 billion. So if we're thinking about that, it's definitely achievable. I also think it's possible because everyone laughed about XDC back in 2020 and 2021. But today it's become a legitimate network. It's become a legitimate solution for trade finance. And now with tokenization moves continuing to hit, and this has been going on since I want to say like a few years now, especially one of the biggest tokenization moves was XDC in trade finance. I do think that XDC is becoming a legitimate household name in the crypto space. I think that people should respect what XDC is doing. So this is definitely going to be a big project in my opinion. I think it's going to be a very big mover this cycle as well. So definitely pay attention to what XDC is becoming, and definitely add it to the watch list. Maybe even turn on some notifications on their X account because they have been announcing some pretty big moves lately. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.